Chapter 4. Money, money, make money. A miser pays twice. Let me tell you a cautionary tale. We once cooperated with Sergey and his developer company, which later went bankrupt, according to the official version, in 2016. But at that time it was a very successful organization. I looked at Sergey and his business partner, marveling. They seem like very young guys, but they are running such a powerful business. Sergey himself was richer than I was 20 times richer. He came to every business meeting in a new cool car or an expensive motorcycle. But he himself was devoid of any ponces. He talked to us, in a simple way, as if we had grown up in the same yard. He was tall, shouldering, athletic. With his whole appearance he disposes people to himself. In general, we worked with Sergey to such an extent that we began to place his advertisements for $35,000 a week in the press alone. One day I called him and said, "Sergey, I will not put your ads this week. What are you doing?" "Why, I don't like the layouts." "So what? I like them. Do you realize you're not getting a return?" To make you understand, we worked with him on an open commission of 15%, that is, we beat out the best terms for his company and got our share. That is, I was turning Sergey down at a loss. What are you thinking about yourself? Believe me, I've been in advertising for a long time. I'd rather put the brakes on this story for a week, 2 weeks, and we'll make a good quality product. In the end, Sergey gave the design of the layouts to Artemy Lebedev's studio and paid them 3 times more than we would have asked for. Of course, I explained to him that his company was our most important client, because it brings half of the total financial turnover of our agency. Yes, it was like that at that time. So what? At that time it was like that, I was aware of that. I said it straight. "Serioza, we are practically praying for you. You are a business-creating client for us, the one and only. And for Lebedev, 1 in 1,000. To which I received this response. "You see, when you buy the most expensive, you get above-average quality. My car costs 16 million, and it is much better than any ordinary car." And I memorized this rule. Later on, I was convinced many times that it works. So yes, a strong argument to refuse to cooperate with us in favor of a cooler organization. It was really true back then. My mother used to repeat to me as a child the phrase attributed to Rothschild, "We are not rich enough to buy cheap things." And indeed, if you choose an expensive product, at least it is guaranteed not to be low grade. It's not the easiest logic, and as you can see, I didn't get to it right away. But the years that have passed since that conversation show, buying only high-end goods and services makes sense, definitely. I also realized that following this rule saves time. For example, I come to a restaurant to have dinner and see on the menu salads with a price range from $2 to $10. Which one should I order? Of course, the most expensive one. Why waste time on the choice, if the salad for $10 in any case will be delicious and for sure I will like it? But a dish 2 or 3 times cheaper can be disappointing. I can honestly say, the axiom, "a miser pays twice," has never failed me in any situation. When I need a new phone, I buy the most modern and expensive model, because it will 100% meet all my expectations and will last a long time. Of course, there is a possibility that I can get the same quality by buying another model for less money. But for that I will have to study the specifications, read reviews, comparisons and testimonials for a long time, as if I have nothing else to do. After digging through a lot of information, of course, I will become an expert in the field of cell phones, but why? I'd rather spend that time on working tasks, and earn more money. The same goes for buying a car. I just choose the maximum equipment and don't worry about it. Maybe I will never use some tricks and will overpay somewhere, but I will save a lot of time and effort on market research and will be satisfied with a high degree of probability. What is the point of all this? Let me tell you, the principle is based on this rule: pay Medor employees above market wages. How else will we get good specialists? Of course, there are different approaches to motivating employees. Ours is based on honesty. It is written in black and white in the company's charter that the business was created for the purpose of making profit, enriching the founders and beneficiaries. Everything is simple and honest. There are no words like, "we want to change the world," or "make people happier," the things that some billionaire businessmen try to bribe their employees with. And it turns out that people work hard for an idea, while getting pennies. Some people like it, but I don't like this approach. There are also companies that lure potential employees with their appearance. They have a cool designer office in a Class A business center. Literally, you can see Red Square from our window. And I agree, there are organizations that really change the world. They employ brilliant scientists, and help them true fans of their work. There are also companies that are a gathering of friends. All issues are solved there over a bottle of red or white. A lot of different things happen. We say, "Guys, our goal is big money, and it's cool." We are not talking about breaking laws, moral or state laws. I am sure that it is possible to earn good money without any trickery. The example of our business proves this. In general, we work purely for profit and we do not hide it from clients, contractors or future employees. The better advertising we do, the more our customers pay us. They, satisfied with the high service, become our regular customers, tell their market colleagues and acquaintances about us, and bring us new customers. It's a very simple logic. Our client portfolio is growing due to the fact that marketers who are satisfied with cooperation with us continue to apply for complex advertising services, changing their places of work. At the same time, their former employers also continue to work with us. At the same time, our expertise in client products is also growing. For example, an employee of the marketing department of one of our clients worked at Domino's Pizza and then moved to Dodo Pizza. Thus, we got 2 regulars instead of 1. On the one hand, the person from Dodo Pizza who was loyal to us continued to order advertising from us. And on the other hand, a new employee came to Domino's Pizza in his place, who did not reinvent the wheel and, like his predecessor, also started working with us. And in general, to always be in good relations with everyone with whom we manage to establish them is another of our principles. This also applies to employees who have left us. We motivate our employees and clients not with some phantom ideas to change the world, but with honesty, a clear goal, concrete results and a great reward system for the team. And if you have left for free floating, let's become partners and continue earning together. Medor's All-Star Team. What is a potential employee of our company like? In a nutshell, honest, not prone to intrigue, motivated for results. He loves money, but remains 100% decent. It's important not to cross a fine line here. Some people are so hungry for profits that they are willing to sacrifice the quality of products and customer service for their sake, play games of subterfuge and deceive their employers. Such people do not stay in our team for long, even if they get there by chance. And on the contrary, people who aim for results in the long run always end up winning themselves. Oleg Kruglov, a former employee of the Medor agency, is now an entrepreneur. I agree with this thought. If you take some initiative, you should be kind enough to take responsibility for the result. If you failed, I apologize, it means that you did not prepare for this issue. But again, failure is not followed by incomprehensible criticism or punitive sanctions. Oleg Krutko always entered the situation, understood the person, gave him the opportunity to correct and eliminate the deficiency. From this point of view, his influence as a manager on the life of the agency is very correct and effective. I manage my employees and crews in the same way. Now I have a small agency, which takes subcontracts for various kinds of decorative design of premises. Accordingly, there are corporate clients with special, specific, premium requirements, and there are ordinary customers with simple requests. In the first case, we work according to the project, submit serious documentation. But individual customers usually send an approximate image of what they want to see, for example, a drawing of a decorative coating. And we realize it. In the situation with Oleg Kruglov, I am still offended by the way things happened. I went along with the laborers who didn't care much and didn't want to take responsibility for their mistakes. They could spoil the materials or do something completely different from what the customer wanted. I treated it calmly. The guys made a mistake, well and okay, screwed up the material for $200 or even $1,000, well, to hell with it, who does not make mistakes? He was very, very kind. Oleg Kruglov used to say that all lazy people should be chased away with a broom and conscientious people should be hired. I made a mistake, distributing employees on the principle of friend, foe. That is, I have known you for 3 years, you are good, and you, only 3 months, let's see what you will get out of you. That's why I trusted my employees more than Oleg Kruglov, who had only recently joined us. Oleg demanded high quality of realization, it was absolutely the right position. I did not step into his shoes at the time, I did not show proper support when he was saying, you have to fire this one, you have to fire that one, they are, to put it mildly, slackers and pests. Oleg Kruglov. Well, in any case, good is what ends well. My work in the Medor agency for a while turned into a partnership with the agency. I saw a suitable niche for myself in that I myself mount my own products, which I produce, because many performers did it poorly. I found employees whom I taught everything, got the required quality of work performance from them, and the cycle closed, from the accepted order and design project development to its physical realization on the object. For the year 2021 I am working, to a greater extent, with countryside real estate, thanks to the tendency of people in the pandemic to move to villages and dachas. I discovered that countryside construction is a very interesting niche that is basically unoccupied or underoccupied by low-quality performers. One of the areas that I am involved in is the development of housing according to the smart home system. Starting from sewerage and ending with the generation of electricity, completely autonomous from power grids. We put solar panels, wind turbines, systems for processing water from dirty to clean water in a closed cycle. And all these processes can be controlled by a person with the help of one button on a smartphone. These services are already on the market, but in a fragmented form, specialists and standards are different everywhere. By combining them into one package, into a single product, we get a good, expensive, premium offer. It is individual, costly in terms of effort and specialists, requiring increased attention, but the margin is very interesting. Yes, those who enjoy what they do come to us. And also, let's face it, from making money. The main thing is that our people always work to the maximum, with full commitment. For example, our star manager Tamara, who moved to Moscow from Vorkuta with her 3 children. In the capital she faced a serious problem, where and how to earn enough money to rent a place to live and feed her children, one of whom also has cerebral palsy. And for the sake of her family, Tamara began to work from morning till night. Now she is managing million-dollar contracts, she has a favorite man, whom she met, by the way, in our company. Tamara now has 4 children. This is what happens when a talented, hard-working, in a word, ideal in every respect, employee finds himself in a company that meets his needs and allows him to realize his full potential. Tamara Gayeva, head of business unit, employee of Medor since 2010. One day I realized that I had nowhere to grow in my small town. I'm suffocating. I wanted to develop, to fly. On one website I saw the vacancies I needed, and with them, and opportunities for the realization of my huge ambitions. I sent Oleg Krutko a resume, then called him myself and convinced him to meet me. I took the train, arrived in Moscow, and came straight from the station, here, to Medor. At first it was difficult to understand what was going on here at all. But I coped with one and a second project. I got acquainted with the guys, and they started to give me tips. And so it went on. I'm still here and I don't intend to leave. As mentioned above, our account managers do not receive a percentage of sales, but actually a share in the company. They earn up to 30% of the margin. The rest goes to the formation of the payroll, taxes, office rent, advertising, promotion, and so on. We pay people exactly what they deserve, in fact, we give them the opportunity to earn without restrictions. As a result, they are satisfied, motivated and ready to work for Medora for 10 years in a row and 20. And in fact, not even for the company, but for yourself, but with our help. In order not to be unfounded, I will again ask my comrades in arms to speak out, thanks to whom Medora is still in the top and continues to grow, conquering new directions. In general, yes, business is, in a sense, a war. Here, everyone, as on the battlefield, fulfills his function and fights for the sake of a common victory. It is very important to feel the reliable shoulder of your brave and honest colleague next to you. Elena Regida, Account Manager, Medor employee since 2016. Are you interested in the field in which you work? Do you like that the salary depends on you personally? Are you not afraid of difficulties, temporary subsidence of income? Then you will succeed in Medora. Also, of course, it is important to believe in yourself, in your strength, otherwise one day you will have to look for a new job. But how to believe in yourself? Do not compare yourself with anyone. Do not assume that if someone does something better than you, it means that he is good, and you are bad. And also, it seems to me, the secret lies in the love of my work. Even if you do at least something minimal, in any case you will come to a result, albeit small at first. At least you will succeed. Only those who do nothing at all do not achieve any success. Which is exactly what happens if you are not interested in your work. And if you like it, and you are moving in a certain direction, then you will definitely come to something significant. I repeat, do not compare yourself with anyone, because this is only your path. Elena Marinina, Head of Sales Department, Medor employee since 2007. I agree with Elena, believing in yourself is important. I joined the company in 2007. At the interview, Oleg Krutko said bluntly, "We only need powerful, sold. You have 3 calls, make 2 sales, I'll take you," and handed me the phone. I did it, and in the second month of work, I was able to carry out a very large project, thanks to which my salary eventually became 6 figures, if in rubles. This success gave a great impetus to development, and I decided for myself that I was definitely staying. I bought a good car for the award. Medora has several sales departments. And we are rather friends, because I think it's stupid to compete with each other. We do one thing and must help each other in all situations, both personal and work. Friendships are more valuable than any money. This is because mutual assistance is beneficial for the company. For example, we have departments that specialize in something specific, in the production of stands, printing, advertising in the media, etc. If we do a complex project for a large client, then we connect a manager from another department to our working group who has information better than we do. For example, if you need a cool stand or high-quality printing. Of course, we give the manager a bonus for participating in the project. This is correct. As a result, everyone is happy, someone gets money, someone gets experience. And the company wins because it copes with a complex project that requires a special level of quality. And the client is happy, he got what he wanted, in perfect shape, on time and with high quality. As you remember, I myself once experienced situations when the employer deceived me and did not give my honestly earned money. Therefore, at the start of the business, I promised myself that I would not do this to employees in my own company. No matter how hard and difficult it is, no matter how great projects we aim at, we will always pay people the reward they deserve. This is our credo. Where's my million? The creation of a motivation system based on interest on transactions was prompted by the mistakes that we initially made when assigning salaries. It all started with the fact that we hired people based only on the impression received at the interview. And it happened that potential employees, as it were, rubbed themselves into our trust and literally bred us for high wages. For example, they immediately asked for a very high salary, but they were not particularly interested in interest and bonuses, and it happened that we agreed, sensible specialists were urgently needed, and people skillfully convinced that it was them. The experience of cooperation with the head of our online store turned out to be sad, which resulted in a drawdown in the project's profit from $100,000 at the start to -$40,000 at the end. Simply put, the online store began to bring real losses. Now we realize that the problem was not that the employee turned out to be a bad leader, but his motivation. A person worked purely for a salary, hired people, but did not track business performance. Why, if his salary is already guaranteed? The solution was suggested by my neighbor, who once told me that large companies do not have salaries of $3,000 or more. They set an acceptable salary for employees, and the rest of the allowances are paid for the implementation of KPIs, key performance indicator, a key indicator of achieving goals. That is, how much a person does, so much he will receive. I already had a similar idea, and after a conversation with a colleague, it finally took shape. And we decided to introduce such a scheme in our Medor. Our employees, current and former, speak very positively about this system. In order not to be unfounded, I will give the floor to one of them, the best manager of Medor, who has achieved the maximum indicators in terms of revenue and salary, Vladimir Cherkasov. He reached the level of head of the digital communication department, lectured at RIA Novosti, working at Medor. Vladimir Cherkasov, an employee of the Medor agency from 2008 to 2015, is currently a co-founder of the Pleasantly, https://pleasant.com, group of companies, which includes a decor studio, an author's event studio, an online store and a network of gift salons. The School of Life, the School of Business. A place where you can develop, rise, earn money, if you want it, of course. A place that helps you understand what kind of person you are, strong or weak, and how you can show your capabilities. That's what Medora is. I got here, one might say, by accident. Prior to that, I worked in consulting for a long time, received $1,000 there, and decided to try myself in advertising as well. I came on an ad and in the first month, I earned $200. A good career. So far, not very, but I'm stubborn in life, so I decided, I will stay and achieve everything. I tried to achieve it for 3 years, until I finally understood all the nuances and began to actively increase sales. I suggested that Oleg take up the direction of reputation management on the internet and social networks. At that time, few people were interested, no one really wanted to advance in this area. Oleg also said, this is stupidity, no one really needs it. There are advertisements at bus stops, billboards, that's what you sell. As a result, I still sold and organized high-quality promotion on social networks for the DV company, this is German Cosmetics. He showed the result to Oleg, demonstrated marginality. He said, cool, and I continued to develop this direction. In general, any organization has stages of development, rise, fall, stabilization. I was in a period when the agency was on a sharp rise, and I felt part of this movement. When I first arrived, at 5 o'clock in the evening, everyone was playing Counter-Strike in Quake 3 Arena and was not thinking about anything else. And when he quit, the agency already had a network of franchisees in Russia, a branch in St. Petersburg, large projects, more than 70 employees. Here it is, the dynamics of the company's evolution. And this, first of all, is the merit of the team. Now I'll tell you how we rebuilt the hiring system. First, of course, we conduct an interview. We look at how a person looks, how he speaks, how he wrote a resume. If, according to preliminary criteria, he is suitable, then he will have to work for several test days. We advise him not to quit his previous job yet. This short probationary period is also paid. If the applicant likes everything and we are satisfied with his work, we will assign him a fixed salary. And for the remainder, together with the candidate, we draw up a KPI system, a list of goals that he will achieve in the future. That is, a person comes to Medora with a desire to work for $10,000 a month. You are welcome. We will allocate some part of the salary, but earn the main money yourself, with interest on transactions. If you really want it, of course. It immediately becomes clear who is a man of action, and who will clearly not go further than abstract phrases. There are candidates who do not like this system. They say, I have a high level of expenses. $5,000 a month is the minimum wage for me. We don't mind. Write a detailed plan of what exactly you are going to do for this money. As soon as you fulfill the indicators you have set, we will be happy to pay you the desired amount. Now let's talk about how KPIs are set for existing employees. For example, an IT specialist sets the task of automating the work of the accounting department. He indicates the period for which he will achieve the result, describes his actions point by point, and we agree on the amount of the bonus, for example, $2,500. At the same time, remuneration is paid only when the task is completed in full. In rare cases, the payment of the bonus can be divided into stages. For example, accounting automation can be divided into 5 blocks of $500 for each of the technical tasks. But usually there is no intermediate premium. We need the end result. Of course, sometimes there is a conflict of interest, when an employee has completed only half of the work in a given period and, accordingly, requires half of the promised money. He, of course, did well that he did at least something, but who will finish the other half? We in the company need people who adequately assess the timing of the implementation of their plans and fit into them. And if something goes wrong, be kind, report it to your superiors as soon as possible, do not be silent. Agree, when the manager learns about the mistake of his employee from a third person, a client or contractor, the situation turns out to be bad. By the way, when I worked as a sales manager myself, customers often tipped me in excess of the price list. Let's say the ad cost $1,000 and the customer threw me another $150. And not just like that, but for good work, for high customer service, I always warned him in time if suddenly the advertisement for one reason or another did not come out on time. The client did not have to sit at the phone for 2 days waiting for calls with orders, and wonder why they are not there. Simply put, the bonus was for the human attitude and the principle of working for the long haul. Or, sometimes, I discovered that the newspaper indicated the wrong phone number, confused the rubric, or even did not put our ad at all, then the first thing, again, reported everything to the client. He admitted that this is my fault, and I will pay for it out of my own pocket, and as compensation, the next placement at our expense. That is, he honestly admitted his mistakes. This is appreciated by people. Such an attitude, unfortunately, is quite rare to meet. So I was convinced by my own example, the one who does his job efficiently and honestly will not be left without money. Therefore, I have every right to demand the same from my employees. Fortunately, they never argue with me on this issue. Yevgeny Vorobiyov, a former employee of Medor, now a successful entrepreneur. I don't know a single person who would say that this company through him, did not pay his salary, or did something else wrong. So the main thing that I remember about Medora is the human attitude towards employees. An important point, if we take the Medorov chain of career development, then it often happened like this. People came, gained experience. Then some left and built their own companies. With varying degrees of success, but nonetheless. And then everything was repeated, the employees of the already created businesses went into free swimming. The same thing happened with my business. Perhaps Karma worked, one of our employees quit and opened her own company, now she is also engaged in exhibition equipment, trying to compete with us. Let's see what happens. I don't hold grudges, on the contrary, I wonder what will come of all this. By the way, everyone who left Medor, parted with Oleg Krutko and other employees in a friendly way. No burned bridges. Strong camaraderie was maintained. Moreover, everyone with whom I periodically collaborate is somehow connected with the Medor agency and left its walls either in my time or a little later. Leaflets for the president. Remember the old school of salespeople, brought up on outgoing calls? Such people, striking perseverance, probably, can no longer be found. They simply opened the yellow pages, and, hand to hand, there were such telephone directories with information about enterprises and organizations, and stubbornly called all companies in a row, offering them goods or services. Since firms advertise, it means that they have money. Is it logical? If the cold call department received an incoming application, the sale was made instantly, and the company immediately received funds. At the same time, the manager made a complex sale, that is, he offered the client a maximum of services. And the customer glowed with pleasure. This is the service. Now we are seeing the opposite picture, a continuous stream of incoming calls, so dense that client managers sometimes strive to announce the price for the requested service as quickly as possible, without delving into the essence of the problem, without finding out, as it is now fashionable to say, the client's pains. Below, I'll announce the ideal deal that we use to train employees. So, a client calls and says that he needs to put up leaflets. The correct question of the manager follows: why? That is, he does not ask where to paste and what exactly, does not immediately report that the order will cost the client 3 rubles per leaflet. A true professional finds out what result the client wants to get. After 20 minutes of conversation, it turns out that the customer is a representative of a large state holding, and his goal is to include his people in the management structure of the pension fund. The idea is to put up leaflets in Barvika. Representatives of the political elite living there, they say, will see them and think, what is happening in the pension fund? Then the head will be removed from his post, and the most worthy candidates will be put in his place. Does it sound ridiculous? But it was a real request. Customers often offer such, to put it mildly, non-obvious ideas. A competent manager replies, wait. In order for the president or head of government to know that there is a mess in the pension fund, they must be informed about this by a press secretary or other people from the inner circle. They, in turn, get their information from the media, not from leaflets. Therefore, you need to act through the TV. We will make a jeans, that is, a custom-made plot, call pensioners to talk about their problems. TV crews will come, shoot and show the video on federal television. Then the president will bring this news in daddy, and your plan may work. At least there will be chances. But it's not worth $250, as for putting up leaflets, but $60,000. By the way, this is a real deal that I made in 2004, made good money then, and the management of a large pension fund has changed more than once since then. Corporate wars, what can you do? When you start talking to a client correctly, you quickly understand what exactly you can offer him for the influx of applications. For example, a client requested an advertisement in the subway. A competent manager looks at the website of his company and sees, the time when buyers can place an order is limited, from 11 to 16 hours. So, you need to advise the client to increase the working time from 8 to 23, as well as replace the photos of goods on the site with better ones. This strategy will work better than advertising in the subway. And it will bring the customer a lot more orders. For such a consultation and the implementation of the project, a good manager will take from the client not $30,000, as for advertising in the subway, but only $500. As a result, the customer will receive twice as many calls and at the same time save significantly. We do not set goals to fulfill all his requests without delving into their essence, and just to get more money at the same time. In general, there are several reasons why client companies turn to an advertising agency. And they also need to be taken into account. The first option. The client company is focused on the strategy of its business, it is important for it to catch up and get ahead of competitors. She does not have time to independently engage in media purchases, souvenirs, conducting advertising campaigns on the internet, layouts and everything else. She submits her marketing plan to the agency and is ready to pay for its implementation. The manager of the advertising agency chooses the methods of implementation himself and coordinates with the representative of the client company. The second option. The client company clearly knows what it wants and makes a specific request, for example, to put a logo on a batch of t-shirts. The agency manager makes a calculation and reports the price to the client. He can start calling other agencies and comparing who is cheaper. Of course, purely for money, it is more profitable for the customer to contact the manufacturer directly, but he will most likely receive a low service. However, such independent clients are often found, due to their inexperience in this matter. It takes a lot of work to convince them to shift all the worries onto the shoulders of an advertising agency. Well, either you need to wait until they themselves choke and return in a different mood. And there is a third option, the most difficult. The management of the client company sets a clear task for its marketing department, to provide, for example, 2,000 applications per month. A budget is allocated for this. The head of the marketing department decides, let's launch advertising on buses, it will definitely work. As a result, an ordinary specialist from this department is looking for an agency that will advertise on the maximum number of buses for the lowest price. Thus, the task has changed. It was, get 2,000 applications a month, it became, stick advertising on 40 buses, and as cheaply as possible. With this, an employee of the marketing department turns to an advertising agency. Reminiscent of the policy of Nikita Sergeyevich Khrushchev, do we need to plant corn? It's cool. Let's burn all the rye in its place and put it. It is clear that if the agency manager does not find out what the original task was, and confines himself to a superficial request, the advertising campaign is certainly doomed to failure. Especially if, for the sake of the coveted savings, half-empty bus routes are likely to be chosen. That is, the right way for a manager is to talk to the client, find out what he really needs, and offer a comprehensive solution that will bring the expected result. When our managers worked in the format of, found out the client's superficial request and transferred the application to the expert of the direction, we had to hire more and more people, those same experts. Unfortunately, not all of these employees had strategic thinking, many fundamentally worked only in their narrow area, made their way through it like a tunnel, not interested in what was happening in other directions and in the company in general. There is nothing to say about an integrated approach to sales, it simply did not exist. Fortunately, at the time of writing this book, the situation has changed. Our current employees know very well how to work with people. I will never get tired of saying thank you to them for this. However, I will give the floor to some of our shock workers of advertising work. They have a lot to add. Olga Nadzorova, head of the working group, Medor employee since 2015. To find a common language with the client, you need to think like a client. When choosing services for him, think, what would I choose for my company in his place? What direction? My task is not to sell something, but to offer a person something that will help to achieve marketing and business indicators. There are different types of customers, and each requires an individual approach. It may sound trite, but it is what it is. Some should be treated gently, while others are better, on the contrary, to show a slightly firmer position. But you need to listen to everyone, realizing that the client, as you know, is always right. I think that's what success is all about, to hear the client and understand what he wants. Then customers come back, and cooperation becomes permanent. Of course, sometimes you have to go beyond the working day. The client will appreciate and you stay in touch with him both on weekends and holidays. Why? We can discuss something on the phone at night. And on weekends, for example, we usually shoot commercials. In general, working with clients is a lifetime. I managed to understand this over the years of working at Medor. Well done, Olga. I completely agree with you.